My husband is divorcing me because I'm infertile. But now he's saying infertility wasn't the only reason he left me. I'm an absolute wreck. Well, welcome to Reddit. You'll find good company here. Countless consultations, too many tests to count, 5 rounds of IVF. That's a lot of rounds.
Wow.
Months of crying myself to sleep, and now the only source of happiness in my life is gone. The past year has been really difficult to me. Last July, my mother passed away, and it had been her dream to see me, her only daughter, ripe with children, and I'm devastated that she didn't get to experience that. To add to that, in November, I was laid off, and now the consequences of that have been coming to a head because husband and I can no longer afford another round of IVF and can barely afford my appointments because IVF is expensive.
As we've learned on this show.
My husband and I have been dreaming of the good life. 2 kids, a dog, and a pretty little house in the country. All of that came crashing down 2 days ago. He had just arrived from home from work, and I greeted him with a smile and came towards him with the expectation of a kiss. And he walked right by me.
Huh?
He looked at me soberly and told me to sit down. As I sat, I could feel my heart sinking in my chest, although I didn't know why. He placed a couple pieces of paper on the table and slid them towards me and buried his head into his hands and let out what sounded like a quiet sob. I looked down, shaking, and saw that he was serving me divorce papers.
Oh.
Everything after that is a blur. I have memories of him telling me that he loved me, and he was so sorry, but that he had been miserable. And if I wasn't able to have a child, he couldn't stay with me. He told me that he was a monster and that he couldn't shake his biological imperative anymore. At least he admits he's a
At least.
We'd both agreed early on that if we couldn't have children, we wouldn't adopt because we wanted biological children. Please don't judge us. He used to hold me at night and tell me that he would never leave me no matter what, that being childless was okay and I was worth it. I now know that that was a lie. I can't blame him though, because it was me who was hindering the relationship. I am the broken one.
Oh.
His sister and best friend came over yesterday to help him pack up his things, and I just laid in bed and sobbed the entire time. He has rented an apartment on the other side of town and has agreed to pay for our home for the next 4 months until I can find another job and we can sell the house. I'm devastated. How could he do this to me? My life is over. Do you think like the husband is an asshole for this or?
Yes. And the
Really?
reason why she mentioned like, oh, he used to hold me at night and tell me it's okay. We can't have children together. There could have been more communication.
I feel like a conversation before that, like, hey, like I'm really unhappy.
Yeah.
I don't know how to deal with these emotions. Let's talk
I just
about
want to
it.
put it out there because then it's at least less of a blow.
There is an update.
Oh, of course there is.
Let's hope OP's life gets a little better. On Saturday afternoon, everything came crashing down again. I was trying to block everything out of my mind and binge watch Netflix when the doorbell rang. My heart tightened. As I walked towards the door and opened it, it was my husband. He looked terrible, almost worse than I did. Without looking me in the eye, he asked if he could come in, and I couldn't even speak. I moved my body to the side of the doorway and motioned him inside. It took everything I had not to kiss him and punch him all at the same time. We sat down on the couch together in silence for what seemed like 10 minutes. He finally spoke, and all he said was, "Infertile old maid, I'm so sorry."
Man, come on.
I was silent. We sat for 2 more minutes before I finally had the courage to ask, "Is that all you wanted to say?" He shook his head and began to tear up, which of course caused me to tear up. He again buried his head in his hands and sighed. He told me he'd been feeling like he was missing out on fatherhood. I told him through tears that I understand and didn't blame him for wanting children, but he cut me off. He told me that wasn't it. He told me that he had been seeing a young woman at his work for the past 6 months and that he couldn't keep lying to me any longer. They were having both an emotional and physical relationship, and she had been pressuring him to leave me for months. Whoa. He claimed his insecurities about his lack of family was pushing him to feel that he needed to change and that she was a huge mistake. At this point, I couldn't take it anymore. I told him to get the out of my house. Get out! He looked at me like a scared puppy and panicked, told me he wanted another chance, that he'd just broken things off with his coworker and was willing to forego kids to be with me. I didn't know what to do. I just started to scream, yelling at him to get out and that I was completely done. He just began to sob and started pleading for me to calm down. It was clear that he wasn't going to leave. So I did. I grabbed my keys and ran out of the house. I drove for 30 minutes out of town, parked on the side of an empty road, and cried for an hour. Driving back into town, I looked at my phone and saw that my husband had called over 20 times and texted me things like how he was so sorry, that she was nothing, blah, blah, blah. I didn't delete any of these messages because I knew how important they were for my lawyer to see. When I arrived back to my house, he was no longer there. I walked inside and all was the same. He took nothing and broke nothing, which was relieving. I regained my composure and sense of reality and called my lawyer and left him a very long message about what had just happened. Today, my lawyer got back to me and told me to come first thing on Tuesday morning. Husband has not tried to contact me since the one last text on Sunday that read, "I love you, infertile old maid. I effed up and I'm sorry for hurting you. If you ever need me, I'll be here for you." My mind is again in turmoil and I feel like I am dying. I have yet to tell any of my friends and family what has happened, and I'm not sure that I'll be able to. That was, I think, one of the saddest stories that we've read. I don't know. What do you think OP should do? Like, do you think OP should break up? Do you think she should take this guy back? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you've been in this situation, please let us know too. But John, what do you think?
I think she's doing the right thing. I also want to say this real quick. The husband could have potentially been okay as soon as he started having these changed feelings, talked to her about it, prepared her and basically said like, you know, like kind of like you said, like, I don't know what to do with these emotions, but I need to communicate them to you.
Let's split up and then you sleep with that honey at work.
Then yeah, all that being said, I definitely think OP is not the a-hole. I definitely absolutely think he's the a-hole even before he cheated.
But let us know what you think. That was a doozy. I hope everyone is okay after that story. Hey, also, if you're going through anything like this, like just know that other people have gone through it too and have come out okay on the other side.
That's right.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next
episode.
episode.
Love you guys.